Hi all. Today let us look at a bit about Proxysql. So let's see how we can use Proxysql for load balancing in a MySQL primary and a replica setup. So I have the current setup. So I have a couple of instances that are running in EC2. Okay. So I have one master server that is named as MySQL1 and it is running MySQL 8.0. Then I have two replicas that are replicating from MySQL 1 server, and these two are also running 8.0. And then I have a fourth server. This is 1, 2, 3, and the fourth server is a Proxysql. So this is what I discussed. This is the master server that has the IP this one, and this is the second server that is the replica which has the IP 15.4, and I have the read-only variable on so that no changes can be made on this. And then I have a third MySQL replica that is 115 and with read-only enabled, right? And this is the IP of my Proxysql. So let us look at the databases once. So this is my first replica. Okay, so if I say MySQL, so I can see that the replica is running, right? This is my first replica and this is my second replica. Yes, so this one is also running. Okay, and this is my master server. Alright, so this one is there, and the fourth one is my Proxysql. Okay, systemctl status Proxysql. So I can see that Proxysql is running. Yeah. Now how do I connect to Proxysql? I need to use this particular command. So Proxysql username, admin, password, admin, hostname is the local IP I'm giving, and port, and you have to use the -- prompt. Right. So this is how I can connect to the Proxysql admin. Now I want to see what are the servers and the host is configured. I will say MySQL_servers. So this will show that I have two host groups 0, 1, and in the 0 I have the master server 12.30. Okay, and then in the second host group I have 115 as well. Okay, and all of them are online. Yeah, so we can see that the Proxysql is actually working. It's able to discover the servers, right? So now so this is not a session where I'm going to configure Proxysql. It is already configured. So I'm assuming you guys know what is a host group, how do we configure different servers in a host group. If you're not, then probably you need to go through the concepts once. So I don't have any available video right now that where I've configured it, like how to configure all the servers under the host group and all. There are certain commands to do that. There is a way of doing it, and it's quite interesting to implement this. So probably I will create a video that would be a longer one. So I already have this setup and I thought of creating an overview of how it works, right? So yeah, let's get back to this. We have this host groups and the servers, right? And we have a couple of users as well. So I have one user with the name test user. That is so this is the password for it, and it is configured for the default host group. So if the test user connects, right, he can actually since he's in host group 0, he can be directed to the master server, and if so he for him the read-write split will be possible. If he does an insert, update, and delete, it will go to the primary server, and if he has a select query, that will go to the host group 2. Okay, but then I have a test user 1, right? That user is part of default host group 1. So in this case, this particular user will not be able to do any read-write. I mean, for this user, he won't be able to do any inserts and all in the database, inserts of the deletes or any modification. He can only do the should I say, she can only query the database. So if this person actually, if I connect with test user 1 and I try to access the database, my connections will go to the replica only. So in this way, my write connections, so the proxy SQL is helping me to load balance my, split my, it would help me with the write split. My read connections are going to the replicas and my write connections are actually going to the main server. And that too, I have defined some users for whom only for test user, the sessions will go to the master server, but if test user 1 tries to connect to or inserts, then it won't be allowed because it's not in the host group. Okay, so let's see how this works. So I will come out from the prompt. Now I will try connecting to my with test user. Okay, so first let's connect with test user 1. So right now I'm going to 4 server. Which one is my 4? This is the replica server 1. So I'm trying to connect with test user 1 and let me see if it goes to the other servers as well. Still going here. So every time it is just sending it to, but actually it should be sending it to the other servers as well. So I have 2 servers here, one is 115 and 114. So ideally it will, I think in some time it will start sending. Here, see, so now I tried and it sent to 115. Okay, so it kind of so sometimes it will send the connection to the 4 server and the next time it will also try to send it to the other replica, right? So in this way both my replicas are actually getting utilized. So I don't need to ask a user like if I have certain users, so I don't need to ask them to connect to, hey, you connect to this replica and you connect to the other replica. If I use proxy SQL, I can easily give them one endpoint, and when the user connects they will automatically get load balanced. Okay, so this is more about the host one, simple select query. Okay, now let's see what is my data. Right, so I'm on my master server, say show databases. Okay, I will say use test show tables. So I have a table T1. I will just select star from T1. Right, so I have this data available in T1. Now if I go here, star from test T1. So here also the data is same, right? Yeah. So now let us try inserting data from Proxysql. So I'm on this Proxysql server. So my test user is actually part of this host group. Okay, so my test user is part of my host group 0 that has my master server. So let's try to insert some data. So right now we have these values 6, 5. Let's insert 7, 8 from here. 7, 8. Let's see if we have 7, 8 value here now. Yes, so my data got inserted. It went to the first node, and so I used the proxy server endpoint, Proxysql endpoint, and within the endpoint the connection got to the master node by itself based on the configuration. So the user is not aware what servers I have at the backend, and as we can see the data got inserted. Alright, let's try to insert one more value. 88. Right. So again, if I go and see here, so I can still see that the data is getting inserted. Now I have 88 as well. Okay. So this is just to show you like how the load balancing and how the read write split is working. So when I'm doing an insert, my data is going on the first node. Now if I do select @ hostname, let's see where the data goes. It's going on the 115 node. So 1115 node is my MySQL replica. See, so it is sending my connection to the replica node. So it kind of load balances. Okay, so it's sending it to the replica node. So in this way, when I do a select, it's not going to the master node, it's going to the replica node only. Yes. So this is how the Proxysql is working, right? So now test user is the one that has privileges, right? So now let me try inserting some data from test user 1. Let's see if we are able to insert the data from test user 1. Okay, now it doesn't give me any output here, access denied or anything, but let's see whether data got inserted. So I'm using test user 1. Test user 1 is in the read only host group, right? It is not a part of a host group that allows for inserting data. Okay, so test group 1 will only send connection to the nodes that are read only. All right, so let's see if we have this 88 value. Oh, 88 was already there actually, but it is fine. Let's give something else for now. We'll give 9. Okay, that when I'm trying to insert the data, okay, from on the test user 1 server, it says is read only and it cannot get execute the statement. Okay, so in this way, when I'm trying to connect with test user 1, it doesn't allows me to insert any data because it says the server is going to read only, and so my connection is actually going for the test user 1. It's going to the slaves replicas as expected, and due to that, since the replicas are in read only, data is not getting inserted, right? So let me again try inserting data in test user 1. So I have to present 1010. Are we able to connect? Yes. So if I'm trying to connect this time, so I'm able to connect, right? Because yes, this is there. So this is also 1010, right? Okay, so we saw the read write split. When using the test user, we are able to go there, we are able to insert data, and when we are trying to use test user 1, like we saw some time back,